What is something perfectly legal that feels illegal? Driving when near a cop. Existing when near a cop. I'm a decent dude. I speed a little and maybe swear too much, but I haven't done anything terribly illegal in a long time, and I always feel like I'm about to die when near a police officer. Edit. People keep asking. I'm a white. I'm from the US. Worst thing I did was shoplift and buy some weed. I've just been around enough violence and shitty stuff happening to friends, the friends who are minorities, that I get nervous around police. Also, intrusive thoughts like grab for his gun run through my head. Walking underneath the nothing to declare sign at customs, even though you literally don't have anything to declare. Walking through a metal detector always puts me on edge. Feel like out of nowhere I'm suddenly concealing a weapon. Taking a shit ton of samples and then buying nothing. Our weekend Costco lunch. Taking something into a store like Lowe's or Home Depot to make sure you can find the correct adapter or connection. Then walking out with it and not paying for anything after not finding the correct connector. When you enter a store with your own stuff you need to wave it around at the camera, so if they try to bust you, you just say check the footage, I'm innocent. And then they say that's great, this is Papa John's, we didn't expect you to be stealing a wrench from us, but those aren't your pizzas. Ugh, I know this feeling. Then they start yelling at you all like, why aren't you wearing any clothes? It's so awkward. Leaving a store without having bought anything. Even worse, at places like Target, where they have locked electronics that you pay for in the department section. So then when you go to check out with everything else you have a bag of things already paid for and a basket of things you're still going to buy. Waiting for someone on the street when there's a cop around. You mean doing basically anything when a cop is around. On Monday I was ordering a sandwich for lunch and there were 2 cops behind me waiting for their turn, but it still felt like I was doing something highly illegal. Hey, could I get? Don't say all the money in the till. Don't say all the money in the till. A BLT on this is a robbery, fuck. As a pet sitter for pets in my complex, even though people give me their key to get into their house, it still feels really weird entering someone's house, especially when I don't know them all that well. Quick tangent, one time, while leaving the person's house and locking the door behind me, a neighbor approached me at the end of the driveway and started talking to me. They were trying to be subtle, but it was clearly obvious that they thought I'd stolen something. Even after I showed them the key that the owners had given me and reassuring them that I was only there to feed the cat, I could still feel them watching me as I walked back to my place. Stealing a balloon on Free Balloon Day. We are not talking about some mail fraud scheme or hijacking here. We stole a balloon. After getting out of the army, US, calling everyone at work by their first names, or using an umbrella. When you get a craving for cake in the middle of the night and try to open that damned plastic container and suddenly the whole damn neighborhood is awake and knows your shame. This is me making instant noodle in the middle of the night. At the end, me and family eating instant noodles together, but I have to cook for them. Taking your first newborn home from the hospital with no prior training or experience. This was so weird. Like, they're just gonna let us walk out to here with an infant? Yep. When we got home, I asked my husband, now what do we do? It was so surreal. Collecting dead rats in the tunnels of the local sewage system and tying their tails together into a wreath. Sometimes this procedure brings them back to life, creating a cursed superorganism. I know there are no explicit laws against it, but I feel like God frowns upon it. Working in advertising, I find how much info I can collect on a specific individual is super creepy. As a general note, just don't sign up for newsletters. The stuff you unknowingly give companies on yourself is scary. Feels so creepy. Just your email and full name is enough for people to know your whole life if they put that stuff into FB or other networks. Ordering weed of a government website and smoking it in Canada. It's illegal to buy from a guy on the corner, but okay from the government. And growing weed in your backyard. Absolutely nuts. When the hospital billed me for my 38-hour stay to the tune of $97,000. Showering in your socks. No, that's definitely illegal. This is what capital punishment is for. Calmly walking past a police officer anywhere in the world at any time. This is often accompanied by the awkwardness of deciding whether or not to acknowledge their presence. Before coming to a decision about how to best handle this encounter, the officer will look at you. At this point your brain is so far beyond its intended capacity for directing your body to maintain normal composure that your gait pattern breaks down as your arms begin to swing out of sync with your legs. This dissonance is just noticeable enough make it look as if you're considering an immediate sprint in the opposite direction away from the officer. Then as you decide to offer up a smile to politely acknowledge the officer's glance, it's then inevitable that you become consciously aware of this internal struggle to use your limbs in a normal way such that the mental effort required to regain your normal stride detracts from that which was momentarily dedicated to smiling. The result is that only half the muscles in your face respond very asymmetrically. The eventual expression is one that conveys your internal state of complete emotional disarray with total clarity. As you pass the officer and realize you're safe, the next 30 minutes is spent mulling over your life to figure out what the hell is wrong with yourself that you can become so easily crippled consequent to an entirely trivial interpersonal encounter. Selling subprime mortgages to people who absolutely cannot afford them and back-end bundling them as investment funds to wrestle to investors, betting they will fail and taking out insurance against that failure with the purpose of getting rich off the insurance while all the investors in those funds go broke. The housing economy bursts and the entire global economy suffers. It happened. We bailed out the banks. America lost its shirt, and not one move has been made to make this fully unethical practice illegal. Taking a shower while someone else is asleep and accidentally dropping one of the soap bottles. That shit is far louder than if you were home alone or if everyone was awake. Riding the elevator facing backwards. Elevators with front and back doors. The door behind you opens and someone gets on. Do we both turn around, or what the fuck do we do? Rotate 90 degrees so that a non-opening surface is behind you. Mals and such will collect your broadcast address, BSSID, and create their own vertex graph for advertising. If you have active scanning on your phone, you can also tell previous apps, Wi-Fi names, somebody was at, using that further and even creating a map of common locations. For example, if I find a BSSID searching for beacons with name Starbucks, McDonald's Wi-Fi, Comfort Inn, Simon Mal's Wi-Fi, when I see your BSSID come up at a location beyond your normal, say out of state, I'll know to advertise to you choice hotels and fast food. It's a very common practice that is very easily replicated. That's why it's nice to turn off Wi-Fi when you don't need. The library. The fact that you can just hang out there for hours, use the computers, and then leave with a huge stack of books and movies without paying a cent is very surreal for 2019. Swearing in front of an officer. In a rare situation it can benefit you. Beyond that it's likely to do more harm to you than good. A friend of mine who has successfully gotten warnings, but no tickets coached me to say the following phrase genuinely and remorsefully. Hi officer, I must have been driving like an asshole. Then tactfully navigate the conversation from there. Don't lie, don't make up excuses. Do understand that you're dealing with another human being. As a Canadian walking around a European city and casually buying my beer at a grocery store, cheaper than Coke, and getting to enjoy it in a public park. Hoarding Taco Bell sauce packets to have with your boiled eggs at home. Smokin' weed in Canada. We used to hide in bushes and climb fences running away from the cops. Now it's just legal. This is specific to me, but one time at a school dance, I had Benadryl in my pocket in case I had an allergic reaction. The staff was checking bags for drugs, and one of the things you had to do was turn your pockets inside out. I got really anxious and awkwardly palmed the single pill that I had while pulling it out, even though it was literally just allergy medication. On Halloween when those people leave a bowl out that says take one, so you dump all the candy out and take the bowl because it's a nice ceramic bowl. I meant take more than one packet of Swedish fish. I remember when my buddies and I were old enough to stay out later but still young enough to be trick-or-treating. We went to one of those take one houses and they had set up a mirror with their take one sign so that, you know, you'd see yourself in the act and feel guilty and just take one. But whoever did that does not understand shitty kids. You know we took that whole bowl and laughed at their mirror. Kids, they're shit.